How to instantly see someone's true colors. Just look for these 5 signs. As we grow older, life teaches us many lessons about people and their true nature. Yet, even with decades of experience, it can sometimes be challenging to discern someone's real character. Whether it's a neighbor, a new acquaintance, or even a family member, we all want to know if the people around us are genuine, trustworthy, and kind. The good news is that there are subtle but powerful ways to understand someone's true colors, and these insights are as timeless as they are effective. Drawing on principles inspired by Stoic philosophy, I'll share 5 simple yet profound observations to help you see who someone truly is. These lessons are particularly meaningful for those of us in our golden years when the quality of our relationships matters more than ever. Let's explore together how to recognize true character and make wiser choices about the people we welcome into our lives. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. How they treat people who can't do anything for them. One of the most profound and telling measures of a person's character lies in how they treat those who have nothing to offer them in return. This is not about how someone behaves toward their boss, a friend with influence, or a person they wish to impress. It's about the small, everyday moments when their actions are unguarded, moments that reveal their true nature. Imagine walking into a diner and seeing someone interact with the waitress. Do they smile, say thank you, and make eye contact, acknowledging the person behind the uniform? Or do they wave her off impatiently, barely noticing her presence? These small moments speak volumes. A genuine kindness to those who serve us shows a respect for shared humanity, an understanding that every person, regardless of their role or station in life, deserves dignity. This principle applies to countless interactions. The janitor cleaning the floors, the mail carrier braving the weather, or the stranger who crosses our path at the grocery store. A person who goes out of their way to be polite, helpful, or even just attentive in these situations often has a generous spirit. They don't see others as tools to meet their own needs, but as fellow human beings deserving of care and consideration. On the other hand, someone who treats these individuals with impatience, indifference, or disdain reveals a starkly different character. Dismissing people who hold no advantage for them often signals arrogance or a self-centered worldview. Such behavior reflects an unsettling belief that some people matter less than others, a belief that erodes the very fabric of human connection. Think about your own experiences. Have you ever seen someone berate a cashier for a slow checkout line or complain loudly about a restaurant server over a small mistake? These moments stay with us because they expose an absence of empathy. They are reminders that true character isn't about how we act when we're being watched or rewarded, but how we behave when there's nothing to gain. The Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, treat your inferior as you wish your superior to treat you. This wisdom encourages us to look deeper, to see beyond the superficial hierarchies of status or power, and to recognize the intrinsic value in every person we encounter. When someone consistently treats others with kindness, no matter their position or influence, they reveal an inner moral compass guided by respect and decency. For those of us in our later years, these observations take on even greater significance. Life has taught us the importance of sincerity, the value of genuine relationships, and the wisdom to discern what truly matters. Observing how people treat those who can offer them nothing in return provides not only a lens into their character, but also an opportunity to reflect on our own. Are we taking the time to acknowledge and uplift the people we encounter each day? Do our actions align with the values we've cultivated over a lifetime? In treating others with dignity, we set a powerful example, especially for younger generations. These small acts of humanity ripple outward, creating a world where kindness is not a rarity, but a norm. And in doing so, we reaffirm the enduring truth. that the worth of a person is not measured by their accomplishments, wealth, or status, but by how they make others feel in the quiet, unnoticed moments of life. 2. How they handle minor inconveniences. Life, as we all know, is full of small, unexpected inconveniences. A long line at the grocery store, a misplaced set of keys, or a sudden rainstorm without an umbrella. These moments may seem trivial on the surface, but they reveal far more about a person's character than any grand premeditated gesture. When things don't go their way, how someone reacts speaks volumes about their emotional maturity, self control, and underlying values. Imagine you're sitting at a cafe watching two people at separate tables. One calmly waits for a delayed coffee order, maybe glancing at their watch but otherwise unbothered. The other grows visibly agitated, sighing loudly, and eventually snapping at the barista. The difference is stark, and it's a window into their ability or inability to maintain composure when life throws them a curveball. Small inconveniences, by their very nature, strip away the masks we often wear in public. They catch us off guard, bypassing the rehearsed reactions we might give in more controlled situations. For someone who has cultivated patience and perspective, these moments are opportunities to practice grace. They take a deep breath, let go of their irritation, and remind themselves that a small delay or disruption is not worth their peace of mind. This is a sign of a person who understands what truly matters in life. On the other hand, someone who lets minor inconveniences derail their mood or provoke an outburst reveals a lack of inner stability. Their reactions often magnify the problem, creating unnecessary tension, not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. A short temper over small things can signal deeper issues. An inflated sense of entitlement, an inability to adapt, or even a habit of seeking control over uncontrollable circumstances. In our later years, we've experienced enough of life to know that it rarely unfolds according to plan. Traffic jams happen, items get misplaced, and people make mistakes. But we've also learned that these minor disruptions don't have to control us. The real power lies in how we choose to respond. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This timeless wisdom reminds us that even the smallest inconveniences are opportunities to demonstrate patience, kindness, and resilience. Think about the last time you faced a small frustration. Did you take it in stride, or did it linger in your thoughts, casting a shadow over the rest of your day? Perhaps it was a delayed phone call, a slightly overcooked meal, or an unexpectedly long wait at the doctor's office. These moments may seem insignificant, but over time, they shape the tone of our lives. Someone who can handle these situations with calmness and perspective radiates a sense of peace that others naturally gravitate toward. These reactions also affect our relationships. A friend who stays lighthearted and patient during a shared inconvenience, like a flat tire on a road trip, shows a depth of character that strengthens the bond between you. Contrast that with someone who spirals into frustration, blaming others or snapping at those around them. The former brings a sense of stability and reassurance. The latter creates unnecessary conflict and tension. In many ways, how we handle inconveniences is a reflection of what we prioritize. A person who values their emotional well being, harmony in their relationships, and the bigger picture of life is less likely to let small disruptions derail them. They recognize that patience is not just a virtue, but a practical tool for maintaining inner peace. And when they demonstrate this kind of composure, they inspire those around them to do the same. For those of us in our later years, these moments carry an even deeper lesson. They remind us that we cannot control everything in life, but we can always control our response. By choosing to meet inconveniences with grace and understanding, we not only preserve our own peace, but also model a wisdom that others can learn from. The next time you encounter a minor inconvenience, pause and consider it an opportunity. Instead of reacting with frustration, take a breath, smile, and remind yourself that this too shall pass. In doing so, you'll not only rise above the moment, but also reflect the depth of character that comes with a life well lived. And as you navigate these small challenges with patience and grace, you'll inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of calm and positivity in a world that often needs it most. 3. How they value time and commitments. Time, as we grow older, becomes more precious than ever. It is the one resource we cannot replenish, the thread upon which every memory, relationship, and moment of joy is strung. How someone values time, both their own and others, reveals profound truths about their character, priorities, and integrity. Observing their relationship with time offers a clear glimpse into the respect they hold for life itself. Consider the person who always arrives on time, prepared and attentive, whether it's for a casual lunch or an important appointment. Their punctuality is not just about good manners, it's a silent declaration. I respect your time as much as I value my own. This reliability fosters trust, signaling that they view their commitments as sacred. Such a person understands that when they make a promise or set an expectation, they are not just marking a spot on the calendar, but affirming their bond with the other person. In contrast, consider someone who is perpetually late, forgets plans, or cancels last minute with little regard for how it affects others. While occasional mishaps are human, a consistent pattern of disregard for time suggests deeper issues: disorganization, lack of consideration, or even an inflated sense of self-importance. Their actions whisper, "My time is more valuable than yours," whether or not they intend it. Over time, this erodes trust and sends a clear message about where their priorities lie. How we spend our time also reveals what we hold dearest. A person who invests their hours in meaning or meaningful pursuits, be it nurturing relationships, pursuing personal growth, or contributing to their community, shows a life led with intention and care. Compare this to someone who wastes their days in trivial distractions, constantly chasing fleeting pleasures or avoiding meaningful commitments. Their choices often reflect a lack of direction or appreciation for the finite nature of time. For those of us in our later years, these observations hold even more weight. We've reached a point in life where we cherish moments over milestones, presence over perfection. The people we choose to surround ourselves with should mirror this wisdom, understanding that time spent together is not just an exchange, but a gift. Think about the friend who consistently makes an effort to check in, the grandchild who sets aside their phone to truly listen, or the neighbor who stops by just to share a moment of connection. These are the people who understand the irreplaceable value of time. But valuing time isn't only about how we spend it. It's also about how we respect the commitments we make. When someone keeps their word, whether it's as simple as showing up to a dinner on time or as significant as fulfilling a promise to help in a time of need, they demonstrate integrity. Their actions align with their words, creating a foundation of trust and reliability. In contrast, someone who makes promises lightly or routinely fails to follow through reveals a gap between intention and action, a gap that weakens relationships and undermines their character. Think of a time when someone made you wait unnecessarily or broke a commitment that was important to you. It wasn't just the time lost that hurt, was it? It was the feeling of being unimportant, of having your needs and expectations disregarded. Conversely, think of the warmth and reassurance you feel when someone shows up on time, ready to honor their promise. These moments remind us that valuing time is deeply tied to valuing people. Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "We are tight-fisted with property and money, yet think too little of wasting time." His words ring especially true in our modern age, where distractions abound and the pace of life often feels relentless. But as we reflect on what truly matters, we see that time, spent wisely and with intention, becomes the greatest currency of all. Valuing time also means being present in the moments we have. Imagine sitting across from a loved one during dinner. Do they put away their phone, look you in the eye, and engage in heartfelt conversation? Or do they glance at their screen every few minutes as if something more important might demand their attention? Presence, the full, undivided gift of one's time and attention, is one of the most profound ways to show respect and care. As we navigate our relationships and evaluate the people in our lives, let us observe not just how they manage their time, but how they honor ours. Are they reliable, thoughtful, and present? Do they prioritize moments of connection and follow through on their commitments? And perhaps most importantly, do they inspire us to use our own time wisely in ways that align with our values and bring us joy? In our own lives, valuing time means making deliberate choices about where we place our energy and attention. It means saying yes to what enriches us and no to what drains us. It means prioritizing quality over quantity, presence over perfection. And it means recognizing that every moment spent with someone we care about is a moment well lived. Time, once spent, can never be reclaimed. But when we treat it with the reverence it deserves, by honoring our commitments, cherishing our connections, and being fully present, we create a life of meaning and purpose. And in doing so, we inspire those around us to do the same, leaving behind a legacy not just of ours, but of moments that truly mattered. 4. How they act when no one is watching. The truest measure of character is revealed in the moments when no one else is around. It's easy to behave well when there's an audience, when praise or consequences are at stake. But when a person believes no one is watching, their actions speak directly to the values they hold in their heart. This is where integrity shines, or falters. Picture this. You're in a grocery store parking lot on a quiet afternoon. Someone finishes unloading their groceries into their car. Do they walk the extra few steps to return the cart to its proper place, even when there's no one nearby to notice? Or do they leave it wedged haphazardly between parked cars, figuring it's someone else's problem? That small, seemingly inconsequential decision reveals much more than it might seem. It's a choice between responsibility and carelessness, between respecting the shared spaces we all inhabit and putting one's convenience above all else. The actions we take when unobserved are the truest reflection of our character. Do we clean up after ourselves in shared spaces, like the office break room or a public park? Or do we leave a mess for others to handle? Do we keep our word, even when it would be easier to let a commitment slide? These moments, though small, build the foundation of who we are. Honesty in these private moments is another powerful indicator. Imagine someone finds a wallet on the ground with no one around to claim it. Do they make an effort to return it, or do they pocket the cash and walk away, rationalizing that no one will ever know? The choice they make reveals whether they are guided by internal principles or external accountability. A person of integrity chooses to do the right thing, not because of fear of judgment, but because it aligns with their own moral compass. For those of us in our later years, we've seen firsthand how these small acts of integrity, or the lack of them, can ripple outward. A kind neighbor who quietly mows the lawn of an elderly couple, unable to do it themselves, asking for nothing in return, shows a depth of character that builds trust in community. Conversely, a colleague who takes credit for someone else's work when the boss isn't around reveals a lack of honesty that sows discord. The philosopher Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that living in harmony with nature and reason requires unwavering consistency. This means being the same person in private as you are in public. It means that the values we profess to uphold in the light of day must guide us in the quiet moments of night. Anything less is a performance, not a reflection of true character. Think, too, of how our private actions shape our relationships. A friend who keeps your secrets without the temptation to share them for gossip is someone you can trust deeply. A partner who remains faithful not because they fear being caught, but because they value the sanctity of your bond exemplifies true loyalty. Integrity in private creates a foundation for trust, and trust is the bedrock of all meaningful connections. In today's world, where public image is often curated and displayed for likes and followers, the value of unseen integrity is more important than ever. It's not the grand gestures or public declarations that define us. It's the choices we make when no one is applauding. These private decisions are the ones that echo into eternity, shaping not only our own character, but the legacy we leave behind. For us, as older adults, this is a lesson we've likely learned and relearned throughout life. It's a reminder to stay true to the values we hold dear, even when no one else is there to see. When we return that shopping cart, pick up litter, or fulfill a promise in private, we reinforce our own integrity. And when others see these quiet acts, it inspires them to reflect on their own actions. These moments of unseen goodness ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never fully understand. So, as you reflect on the people in your life, take note of their unseen actions. Do they embody kindness, responsibility, and honesty when no one is looking? And just as importantly, ask yourself, how do you act in those moments of quiet choice? The answers to these questions define the essence of who we are. In the end, the legacy we leave is not built on what others say about us, but on the lives we quietly touch through our everyday integrity. These small, private moments of goodness remind us that character isn't about seeking recognition. It's about doing what's right simply because it's right. 5. How they handle power. Few things reveal a person's true nature more clearly than how they handle power. Power comes in many forms: being in a position of authority, holding influence in a relationship, or even having access to knowledge that others do not. It magnifies who we are, shining a light on our values, strengths, and sometimes our weaknesses. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, himself an emperor, wisely observed, the true worth of a man is measured by the objects he pursues. How one wields power is a reflection of what they hold dear. True power, when guided by humility and responsibility, becomes a force for good. It uplifts others, fosters trust, and creates harmony. Picture a leader in a community or workplace who listens to others, encourages collaboration, and seeks solutions that benefit everyone. This person doesn't use their authority to dominate or control, but to serve and inspire. Their humility demonstrates an understanding that power is not a privilege to be exploited, but a responsibility to be honored. Contrast this with someone who abuses their power, using it to belittle, manipulate, or assert dominance. We've all encountered people like this: the supervisor who takes credit for a team's hard work, the family member who controls decisions to suit their own desires, or the neighbor who uses influence to impose their will without regard for others. These behaviors don't just damage relationships, they reveal an insecurity masked as authority. Such individuals prioritize their ego over empathy, their gain over the collective good. Think about the small ways power appears in our daily lives. Even something as simple as holding privileged information, knowing something others don't, can be a test of character. A person of integrity handles such knowledge with care, sharing it responsibly when needed, and respecting others' trust. Meanwhile, someone who gossips, manipulates, or uses that information to their advantage undermines the very foundation of trust. Compassion in positions of power is one of the clearest indicators of a strong character. Imagine a manager faced with a difficult decision, perhaps budget cuts or a significant change in operations. A compassionate leader takes the time to understand how these changes will affect their team, listens to concerns, and communicates with transparency and fairness. This approach not only resolves the issue with dignity, but also earns respect and loyalty. In contrast, a leader who acts with indifference or harshness creates an atmosphere of fear and resentment, eroding both trust and morale. Even in personal relationships, power dynamics reveal character. Perhaps it's a spouse who takes charge of managing the household finances, a friend who seems to have more influence in a group, or a grandparent whose wisdom naturally commands respect. In these situations, how power is handled matters deeply. Do they use their influence to support, encourage, and bring balance? Or do they manipulate, demand, or seek to control? The fairness and generosity with which power is wielded often determines the strength of the bond. Power, however, doesn't only expose flaws, it also provides opportunities for growth and positive impact. A person who wields power responsibly leaves a legacy of trust and inspiration. Think of the community leader who advocates for those without a voice, the teacher who empowers their students to think critically, or the family member who resolves conflicts with fairness and grace. These individuals use their influence not for personal gain, but to elevate others, embodying the Stoic ideal of serving the greater good. For those of us in later stages of life, these lessons resonate deeply. We've seen how power can be misused to divide and destroy, but we've also witnessed its potential to heal and unite. Perhaps we've held positions of power ourselves as parents, mentors, or leaders, and have learned that with influence comes responsibility. Reflecting on how we've used our power can bring clarity and guide us in leaving a positive mark on the world. Seneca once said, "He is a great man that can treat his inferiors with kindness as well as his equals." This wisdom is timeless. True strength lies not in asserting dominance, but in treating everyone with respect, regardless of their status or ability to reciprocate. Power handled with kindness and empathy uplifts everyone it touches. As we observe others, their approach to power can tell us much about their character. Do they empower those around them or seek to control? Do they inspire trust or breed resentment? And just as importantly, we must ask ourselves, how do we handle the power we hold, no matter how small it may seem? Whether it's making decisions for our families, mentoring someone younger, or simply influencing the mood of a conversation, every act of power is an opportunity to act with integrity and compassion. Ultimately, power is a mirror. It reflects who we truly are. By wielding it with humility, wisdom, and empathy, we not only strengthen our relationships, but also create a legacy of leadership that others can look up to. In this way, power becomes not just a test of character, but a tool for building a better, more harmonious world. A reflection for our golden years. As we age, relationships become one of the most important aspects of our lives. By observing these 5 signs, how someone treats others, handles inconveniences, values time, acts unseen, and wields power, we can build stronger, more fulfilling connections. At the same time, these observations invite us to reflect on our own actions. Are we living in a way that aligns with the principles we hold dear? Every day is an opportunity to show kindness, practice patience, and embody integrity. The Stoics remind us that character is not about what we say, but what we do, especially when no one is watching. By embracing these timeless lessons, we not only enrich our own lives, but also inspire others to live with purpose and grace. Let these observations guide you as you navigate the relationships that matter most. In doing so, you'll create a legacy of wisdom, compassion, and authenticity that will endure for generations to come. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.